Oh, okay, never mind.
Gotta
All
cut out
right.
this whole part of the damn.
My bad.
All right. Welcome to episode one of the Where to Love At podcast. I'm excited. I don't know how y'all feel. I'm excited about where it's about to go, where it's going to go. I'm going to introduce myself. My name is Dwayne, aka the very best. I go by a lot of aliases, but I'm going to say I'm Dwayne, aka the very best. Here with my two good friends. You guys want to go ahead and introduce yourselves?
Yeah, ladies first.
Oh, I was like, who? I'm just kidding. So my name is Jada Williams. I met these two lovely gentlemen in college. And I'm super excited to be here.
Yeah, and I'm Jalen Bell, formerly known Jay Bell. I met these two individuals in college as well and got to know them very closely in a short amount of time. I'm ready to do this.
Yeah, it was only black people in the college, so
Yeah, all of us right here.
it
The
was
real
Barney.
shit.
It was Barney. I'm going on knowing Jada for damn Jada. We almost known each other for 10 years. Crazy, right?
Seriously, a long time.
Time.
So sorry for you, Wayne.
Very long time. Because Jay, I think you came later. Yeah, you
Yeah,
came
he
later.
came our junior. He came our junior.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
wow, cool. What that was 2014,
Yeah,
2014,
yeah. Wow.
2006. You know what I'm saying?
Damn, y'all, we're old.
I know.
Wow.
For real.
I'm just thinking, like,
We good because 20. You know what I'm saying? We in the 20s. That's the new teens.
damn.
30s, the new
We went
20.
from
You feel
we went
me?
from eating in the shack to being at home on a podcast,
I
married,
know. And life is just,
parents. That's
Married.
crazy.
Yeah, married. So, like Jada said, we are married. And the point of, in my opinion, the point of this podcast is to, talk about the millennial experience with being married, especially the black millennial experience. They say a lot of black people don't get married, which I think is true because I haven't seen a lot of black people get married. But I mean, I got a good amount of friends that got married, and I feel like that our generation might be starting to change that tide and where
Yeah.
that's going. So we want to talk about our experience being married, our relationships, what led us to becoming married, how did we find out, hey, this is our person, and just
Mhm.
experiences that we gained throughout our marriage. We're all newly married, so I know people gonna be on here like, what the fuck you newly married people got to say? You know what I'm saying? But if you got some advice that you want to give us at any point, feel free to reach
Please.
out to us on any of our social medias. And if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and we might be able to answer it for you. So that's just why I'm excited for us to do this. I think this could really take off, and help a lot of people out and help ourselves out as well. I wanted to get Jada on here
Absolutely.
to get like a female perspective because dudes be like, all right, this my girl tripping, you know what I'm saying, but we don't never see that perspective. So
Absolutely. Wait, when you got to tell them the name of the podcast and
did
how
she
it
not
came
hear
to
me
be.
say that?
Did I miss that?
Yeah,
I
you
don't
missed.
think you really. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Hi, just
yeah.
kidding.
So, but I go against the game. You want to come up with that? How that happened? We was
Jay
trying to figure out
developed.
a
Jay
name for like
developed
an
it.
hour.
no,
We
no,
were.
actually, it's funny because when Wayne was trying to put it together, we were like, who is married? Who do we even know? So I think it came to me as like where's the love? And here we are. I love that. Just like
Very
that.
true. Very true.
Jada was trying to have where to love at the black
The black
experience.
experience.
Gotta
The
find
millennial,
love, the millennial black experience.
Yeah,
the
So yeah,
experience.
go ahead and put a little flavor in it. So it's not LOVE,
yeah.
LUV. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, well, word on the street, I was the last choice. So,
See, that's what J Bell gonna
I
sit
don't
here and
know
lie.
who said. I don't quote me. I ain't said that.
You know what I'm saying? I never, you wasn't no last round pick. You know what I'm saying?
it's all forgiven.
In the NFL, there's 32
Yeah,
teams, 7 rounds.
yeah.
And I'm the damn Cleveland Browns.
You were definitely in an NFL draft. I'll say that.
Wow, which was not the number one pick. So
Jada,
I was in the draft. They didn't even watch me.
Look,
first
you
of
signed up
all,
an agent.
you like one of the later people to get married though. You feel me?
I got married before Jay.
But he was engaged longer than you.
Damn.
He was the last person to get
Ah.
engaged. You know what I'm saying?
When you know, you know.
Oh. You guys are such asses. Seriously.
I understand. But hey, man, hey, I just went to the mall, got a hat. You know, I'm feeling
See,
good. Cut my
You
hair
don't
all
got your pop
orange.
smoke brazen.
Nah, man. I'm out a little bit, but they'll be
John
back.
be hot, man.
And
It must be
I was
like
gonna come to you,
40 degrees
Jada, but Jada, you be going out to people, and you know, what I'm saying I gotta give you 2 weeks because you was just out at a party. So
Oh, I mean, see what had happened. That's another story for another day. We'll talk
that's what
about
I'm
that.
saying. You was at a party. I was like, maybe I'll go to Jada and get my hair redone before the pod. But I saw she was at a party the week before. I was like, oh, can't see
You
Jada for two
acting
weeks.
like I was out twerking and whatnot. I went to a little shindig and that was about it.
That's how I know she always said a shindig.
I have a
A shindig.
I have an old soul.
That's like getting in a scuffle.
She didn't
I'm
say
about
a
to
getty or nothing like that. A shindig. You know why she said? Never mind. I ain't gonna say why
But
she said
yeah, we
that.
ain't gotta go to this. Keep it on topic.
But yeah.
oh,
So
I
this
see.
episode, we're just gonna get into a few things. Talk about our first experience with love. Where did we first see it? Um, who showed us that? Ways our thoughts on love were impacted, and also get into our first experience with love. So, without further ado, we do want to introduce our executive producer. She will be actually the one asking us questions, helping us out with this podcast. My lovely wife, Nubia Hewitt.
Hello, hello, hello. Thank you for the warm introduction, baby. I love you so much. I'm really excited to kick off this podcast with all of our best friends. I'm so proud of us all for getting through this pandemic with the 2020 love, being married. So, to kick off, we are going to start with this first episode, which is we are going to call it the meetup. So, I want you all to go around and talk about your first visual experience of love. When did you first see love with your own eyes? What age were you? Who showed you? And how did it make you feel?
Yeah, and I'll go ahead and kick it off. For me, um, I come from a two-parent household, so from the moment I was born, I saw love or what I thought love was to look like, and then even my parents and my grandparents as well, they kind of shaped my idea of what a relationship and love and happiness is supposed to look like, and what I kind of noticed and took from them was I feel like both of my parents are opposite one another. Same with my grandparents. They they kind of pick up where one another leaves off, and I think for me that's kind of what I wanted for myself because I mean my parents and my grandparents are still married to this day. I mean I can't tell you how many years that is, but I mean I know it's a long time. And I think for me seeing that and the success they've had and making that work and being there for one another and helping each other out even with their flaws. That's kind of what I wanted for myself and what I envisioned and wanted for and my wife.
Yeah, man. All right. Two-parent household, privilege.
That's dope.
So,
That's hella dope. What you
But
think with the privilege? You know what?
yeah,
yeah,
That's awesome though because you really hear that,
yeah,
especially with Black
in our
families.
community.
Because my experience was a little bit different. It was more of a single parent household. So my idea of love and what I witnessed was more, it was distorted. I didn't know what it looked like. All I knew was that being raised by my mom, how to, take care of a household, how to hold it down, how to pay bills. Education was like her main thing. And on the other end, my dad, he was more of a provider. So it was like I kind of had the best of both worlds, but it wasn't together. So my mom was more the nurturer, my dad was more the provider, but it was just in two different households because my parents are divorced. So as I got older, I began to try to figure it out on my own because I didn't know what it looks like. And, my family, my godparents, they're married and I have a few aunts and uncles, but I really wasn't around them as much. So it was really, really hard for me to figure out what love actually is. And I learned that through, loving myself first and taking care of myself. And I'm like, well, if I know this within me, my partner is going to have to do the same. They're going to have to love themselves because if they don't love themselves, they're damn sure not going to be able to love me. Um, so that's really kind of my first experience with it was really, really distorted. But as I become an adult, I appreciate that the love that my parents gave me was just different. However, it was still love. So
Right. So for me, I would say I grew up in a single mother household. I still got like my dad was around, you saying, But he was around. You know what I mean? He was around. But for me, first, and we talking about the first experience or first visual love. Honestly, my first visual love was just something that showed me like I knew like that's not love. Like love shouldn't
Mm,
be the way it is. You know, there's certain experiences that I seen with the women because I grew up on my mom's side. It's a lot of women in the family, so you see like what they went through and things like that. So it like taught me how to properly treat a woman, and you know some of the things that happened to them is I noticed like I want to make sure when I actually find the person that I love that I don't make them feel the way that I've seen some of the women in my family feel.
mm,
So honestly, the first visual of love for me was really the love my mom had for her kids.
mm,
And like before I would see like with like real love, I'd probably say like between like people, like on a romantic level, my first real visual of that, I could say my grandpa and my grandma on my dad's side. And you can tell that they loved each other, my grandpa. But for me, I didn't meet my grandpa on my dad's side until I was like 11, 12, because he was in Jamaica the whole time. But they were married. He just didn't come up here. So once he finally came up here, that's when I saw my real first visual love and like true unconditional love, unconditionally caring for that person, no matter what. Like my grandma was a churchgoer. My grandpa was not a churchgoer. But you know, they loved each other even though usually you'll see people that some person that loves church and the person that doesn't care for it as much. That's a huge conflict of interest. But that
mhm.
unconditional love you could tell that unconditional caring for each other is something that they had that never made them separate. So,
Okay, so actually, and either one of you guys can answer. So since I'm the only one with, the two-parent household, I have a question for you guys in regards to this. Do you think because you guys grew up that way, you ever had a negative view of love because of how you were brought up?
uh, yeah, actually, I used to never thought like think about marriage for real, because like I seen my mom get married once, but I saw like how that marriage went, and I was like, man, it ain't for me. Even my grandma, the reason my grandma was like, yeah, you know, black people don't get married. I was like, damn, grandma, that's harsh.
Yeah.
Like, man, girl, that's crazy. But I mean, I feel like I didn't really have a negative action. It just showed me like just from those experiences, it showed me like how to whatever they were doing. And sometimes it takes like them showing you things that they were doing towards each other to make you realize, all right, that's not something that I want within my love for another person. So if that's those signs start to show, then I got to get out of that situation.
Yeah, and I know for me, it wasn't even something that I really thought about. Um, I was so focused on valuing independence that that was kind of sitting at the back burner. However, when I noticed what was interesting, my mom always instilled these values. And you'll make a great wife one day. You'll do this, that, and the other. And I'm like, you a single mom? What you talking about making great? I ain't never seen you as a wife. So, but she always said that, and it didn't make sense until later on into adulthood.
Yeah, I think
Um,
no. To me, it's good that you guys were able to do that and not let that experience make love something negative. Because honestly, it sounds like to me, just from hearing both of you guys talk, was that you guys learned something about love sooner than I did. Because I guess I mean, not say I went in all happy about love. I think I had more of an optimistic view about love. So I guess I kind of feel like I may have been more naive towards love, and that everybody just gets love. It's just something that it's around. It's just always going to be there, opposed to being able and experience to not see it as much or on the forefront, and then have to adjust and figure out like Jay, you made a point. You said you got to learn to love yourself first. I feel like me, I didn't learn that lesson until I was way older, but I couldn't imagine like how that would have helped me just on the emotional maturity level, being able to be like, all right, love, you can't expect love to just come from somebody else. It's really something that you have to start with, with yourself.
no, I definitely agree with that. And I was gonna ask you, but I mean, I think growing up, and that's what I want to do with my child is for them to see love every way, especially with me having a
Absolutely.
baby girl. Like I want to make sure like she sees that all the
Mhm.
time. And I think that is important this not only because I feel like it just instills different things. I think not having two parents in the household, it could be a. I think it's better to I can't say good or bad. I think it's better to have two. We grow up in a two-person parent household.
Absolutely.
You know, because that visual loves because it really helps people out. Because people when they don't have a relationship with their parents and don't see that love every day, they don't. Eventually, honestly, they don't love themselves.
Right.
Because it's like my parents don't love each other. Like, what makes me think I can find someone that loves each other? You know.
Right. Right.
So I think I wish I had that visual, but I mean, I'm also grateful for the journey that I went through because it brought me to where I'm at today. Remember?
I agree with you, Wayne, especially, having a daughter myself, always because she's still aware of what's going on. I'm always mindful about the things I say, the things I do, my actions. Even when her and me and Darius have a disagreement, we're not raising our voices because that impacts children and people don't even really understand that. And also to think that when it comes to marriages and relationships, children are very important. And if it gets to a point where a marriage becomes so toxic, you have to learn, is this going to be beneficial for my child to witness this for the rest of their life? Now their image of love is really distorted and now they're damaged. So is it better for them to see what does it look like to sometimes when things don't work, how you can still have two parents who are able to co-parent. So that's really like the other side of it. And that's something that I wish that I had growing up that, okay, my mom and dad, they're divorced, but what does it look like to have that a really solid, co-parent partnership?
Right.
Because that wasn't there. So that's something I've always said to myself that, I'm married now, but I always am realistic that what if this doesn't last forever? I don't believe in the whole Cinderella fairy tale. I still want to make it the best situation for my daughter.
Right.
So I will just always have those thoughts.
That. Now that was a good discussion, man. You
Yeah.
ever grew up, two parents? You know what I'm saying?
That's the goal.
That is the goal, man.
Sound like y'all about to crucify me for a second.
Nah,
No,
that's
no,
the
not at
goal.
all. That's awesome. It's a freaking
Sorry,
honor.
you grew up in the suburbs, two parents, you know what I'm saying? Nah, that's it.
Floyd boy.
Just a black kid from Bel Air. I'm just kidding.
But let's get into the next topic. Well, part of the chapter one. Baby, Nibs, you want to introduce that?
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. So, just to recap a little bit about the first conversation, J Bell, you grew up with two parents looking at love as a form of completing each other, having that third generation experience of having grandparents and parents that express that. Jay, you kind of shifted gears when you're talking about the single parent household. And although you experienced love from both your parents, it was different kinds of love. And now that has functioned and funneled into who you are now. And then, babe, you talked about how having a single mom impacted how you viewed love to start with and how you had to kind of change the view in order to get to a view. And you knew what you didn't want first, and you're trying to work hard to change the narrative. So, transitioning into the next topic, I want you all to tell me about your first experience with love, the first time that you all fell in love and felt love.
Yikes.
Woo, woo.
Shoot. I hope she don't see it. Nah, so my first experience, and honestly, it's funny because I didn't even really know it was my first experience until after the fact. Was probably back when I was in high school. I was I was dating this girl, and it was good. It was cool, and we hit that point, went off to college, ended up going separate ways, but it ended kind of bad. And I just remember looking back on the relationship and being like I wasn't. I had some internal things that I needed to work on first, and I feel like I projected those things onto the relationship, and eventually that's really what made it not work because I had my own things that I didn't have right within myself, and eventually that's kind of what you know tore it apart. And then I'll just give like the kind of the whole story in a nutshell is after it ended, I tried to go back to it later on in life, and I realized because once I had healed myself and learned what I needed to learn and sort out my own personal issues, I realized like I was such a totally different person from where I was then that it wasn't that wasn't where I needed to be. So like the love was there, but it wasn't the type of love that I knew I was gonna need and that was gonna be sustainable. So I think like my first experience with it was a very I mean I was young. I mean I was in high school. It was a very immature, emotionally I should say, level of love on just really more so on the surface and not really on what a foundation of what love really is. But I mean, it still hurt just the same, in the end. Which, and I didn't realize until I got older, like dang, this was love, but it wasn't. It was that was meant to be my experience with love. That wasn't supposed to be like my end all be all of
And I have to really piggyback off that. Same here. My first experience was in high school. And at the time, I believe I was like a junior, and I was head over heels for this person. You couldn't tell me nothing. And this was like a first true deep experience. Like, I had little boyfriends in like grade school, the little cute stuff, but this felt really intense for me. In the beginning, it was very, very positive. This person would do, anything for me. My love language is gifts and words of affirmation. So this individual always made sure, I had the best things, took me to the best places, was always very supportive. Um, and then unfortunately we went off to college and we kind of went our separate ways, and there was some cheating. There was a lot of heaviness that I didn't know how to process. But looking now as an adult, we both came from kind of single mom households, and his trauma was a little bit different than mine. And I didn't realize at the time that I think I love the fact that he would spoil me. He gave me attention that I wasn't getting, elsewhere, from my dad being absent. So that I believe I invested so much in that relationship that when it ended, I was heartbroken. But one thing I can say when it comes to love, my mom rescued me from that because she taught me how to heal from my first heartbreak. Um, so I appreciate that experience because it taught me more about myself. So.
That's nice, man. I'm like, y'all, I really wasn't shit. I ain't gonna
We
lie.
all got therapeutic shit and way
I really, like,
like,
I really wasn't, man. Because to me, I always say this, and people are like, oh, you corny. Like, I don't really felt like I truly love someone until like I met my wife. I felt like I cared about other people, and and I said one experience was in like high school, early high school. I was lived in a whole different city for my eighth grade and ninth grade years, and I was talking to somebody, but I'm like, bro, I know I'm going back to Miami soon. So I'm not gonna get in no committed relationship with nobody. I'm young, just started playing high school football. So I'm like, all right, bro. I know my mom already gave me the lowdown. Yo, after your ninth grade year, I'm moving back to Miami, and that's what's happening. So I honestly care for this person for a little bit, and this person's like, why we don't date? Why we don't date? And I never want to tell them like, yo, I'm moving. Like, like we're not gonna be together. But obviously, it was like we care for each other. She came to the football games, came to the wrestling matches. You know what I'm saying? Was there. People, she would probably tell people, and this always happens to me. For some reason, people that I be kicking it with, they always tell people that we dating when we not dating. But
never mind. I'm just.
but that always happens to me. But yeah, but this was one person I did care about, and honestly, if I would knew I was staying there, uh, I would have. But in my mind, I'm like, I'm moving. I didn't care. And then it hit me to like I actually moved, and when we moved away, I was like, damn, I really actually did care for this person. You feel me? So I would say that was my first experience with love. But I was young, naive, horny, uh, things like that. You know what I'm saying? Love ninth grader. And I didn't really take love as serious. And then from there I was just, chilling. And I think until I met Nubia is when I really first experienced my first like real like love experience. And I was like, holy shit, like this is the person. So
it's so funny the way I mean you said it like he was a savage, bro. But the thing that's funny is
Real
like,
shit. Like,
but you knew you was a savage off rip. Like I keep saying this reoccurring thing is like I didn't learn these things until later on. Like that time from when I had my first um like that first my own personal experience with love with a person. In between that, just like Wayne said, like I would say it. to in between to whoever, like, if it came up and they felt it was the moment to say it, shoot, yeah, I love you too. But, it is what it
Just
is.
to get
But
some.
not even to do that, just because, like, it just felt like this is where you go next from here. So I'm out here just ripping around
Supposed to
the
do.
love, but really, until I ain't gonna lie, probably not until I tried to revisit that relationship with the girl from high school is when I realized, like, oh, everything in between that was not love.
Yeah.
Like, in those moments when I was saying it, yeah, I thought,
Felt something. Felt a little bit.
yeah, I felt
You
something.
felt a
Like,
little tingle.
yeah, I felt some magic, but it wasn't no love.
Jay, that was hormones.
Hey.
Exactly.
Jay, that's one thing about me. I never said that.
Never.
Like, bro, I've never, like, they would dead ass look at me. That's usually why I always got in trouble. Two things that always got me in trouble was they would say it and I would look at them. I'm like, I'm not ready to say that. And then obviously they would get mad. And also they'd be like, yo, you talking to somebody else? And I would straight up say yes.
Oh,
So
I commend you for your honesty. I ain't have it.
True savage.
I didn't have it.
I would see. I don't think it's the difference. I think being a savage would be saying like, yeah, not gonna do something, but like I'm like, bro, like clearly we're not together.
Yeah, if I don't feel it, I don't feel it.
I don't feel it.
Yeah. So that's honesty, though. That's honesty.
Yeah. But that's
So,
when people will call you being a savage. But you know what I'm saying?
And you say you're being honest.
Yeah, I'm being
Right.
honest. I ain't
And
lying
you
to you.
genuinely didn't love them, so I mean, it can't.
Yeah. So, but yeah, man, that was just
As a
Just
female,
love.
I would respect that more than somebody bullshitting me.
That's what they all say.
Like,
But that's a
I
lie.
would.
Okay. Well, I feel like we go on this topic, we're gonna get way off. But all right, so given, say we were to, like me, I'll just say it. If you say it to me and I don't want to hurt your feelings. If I like you and I want to continue going, I'll say it. But if it's not nothing I know I want to do,
Okay.
I'm sorry, I just don't. I'm not there yet. I might say that, but if I want to continue the relationship, and in my head, I'm like, well, I don't feel it right now, but if we keep going, I know I'll get there. That's how I was looking at it. So I would just, oh yeah, I love you too.
Go with it.
Yeah, and that's how I was.
You say it real quick like that too.
I love you.
I love you too.
Hey, I'm LUHH. I love you.
See, for me, my pride would be too strong, so I would just wait for the male to do it because then I know it would be genuine. But after hearing y'all would just say the shit, my pride was too strong.
So you
to
always
say
waited
it.
for the guy to say it first.
Always. I was too afraid to be that vulnerable. Just be honest.
When I finally said it, I kind of like said it. You feel me? I like kind of snuck it in. You know what I'm saying? That's what's happening. But yeah. So just the final thoughts on that part. Jay, you ain't said. You just telling people you ain't love them. You ain't love them. Just telling people you love you.
I was like, I don't even love you.
I did it one time in my life. One time in my life, I did it, and that was to get some butt. But and that was wrong.
Did you say to get some butt? That's what you call it?
Say play. Get some play.
Get some butt.
What the hell? I've never heard that.
I was like, all right. And I don't know why the person was drunk. I was like, yeah, I'm drunk too.
Hey, no, all right. This is I'm jumping on stuff now. Do you think it's always a man's job to say it first?
Ooh.
When it's said.
Say it again.
I feel like it depends when it's said. Because a woman can't tell me she loved me a week until it's talking.
I've always felt like every situation I've been in, it's like I've had to say it because I know they were trying to get it out of me.
So you felt that way, but
I felt like they were pushing me to I said it because I already knew it was already evident that they felt that way, and I feel like they were just waiting. Like you said, I don't know too many women who ever just come out and say it first.
Yeah,
but I think women know when they feel like that.
Oh yeah, you know,
and they try to premeditate getting you to say it. And I think that happens. And then when I know it's
I love you too.
Yeah, when I know it's getting insinuated, boom, I'm playing my card. Boom, here go my ace. I love you too.
Mhm. No, I would definitely have to agree. Like women, we know, and then we may kind of question or try to say like, try to get it out of men. Because I just think it's a pride thing for women. However, you'll find some women who are truly desperate will be like, "Oh, I love you so much," and don't give it. But a woman who is truly in love with a man will try to like question him and probe him to
Right.
see what his thoughts are, and then you can, as a woman, you can determine if that man's feeling the same way or not, just by actions, by what they say back. So I definitely agree. Yeah, I agree.
Meditate love.
All right, executive producer.
So based on your first experiences of love, the first time that you felt like you really experienced love, what impacted that? Like, what impacted those parts of love that you are now that you now take with you for the rest of your relationships?
I missed the first part of that.
Yeah, I did too.
So, what impacted your love? Like, based on your first experience of love, what are the things that you took away that impact how you view love now?
Oh,
So, for example, Jada, you mentioned filling a void because you didn't have your dad. So you felt like the gifts
Mhm,
and words of affirmation filled enough void to kind
mhm,
of make that understand you. And as you've already previously said, one of your love languages is gifts, words of affirmation. So did you carry that into your next relationship? Did you kind of go back and think about it? Like what inspired you? What encouraged you to view love now? Like how did you use that to find the love that you have now?
You want me to take that one, Jen? Or
Or
you
anybody,
can?
just an example.
Oh, it's a question, or
Yeah, just what impacts
okay,
your view of love now from your previous experiences?
okay.
um, I kind of already hinted at this, but I think one of the things I had to take from it initially was I needed to, because Jada, you said this before,
Mhm.
and I had to learn to love myself first. I think that's
Absolutely.
probably the biggest thing that I took from my first experience was that I like before I was head hunting that perfect vision of what I thought love was and what I wanted, opposed to just letting it come and worrying about myself first. Because boom, when I got into it, I was so jacked up, internally that there was no way it was gonna work. Because
Mhm.
I didn't, I feel like I had insecurities about myself that I'm trying to make somebody else help me overcome that it ain't their battle. It's my
Mhm.
battle. And I think as I got older, I realized that. And once I was able to heal that, then I was able to, find love and let it come naturally. But because it happened to be that way for like a big gap of my life, I was like super private. I was like, I'm not dating. I don't want to be serious with nobody. I'm gonna be about me, focus on my own life. And when that thing comes, it comes, which I think was good for me because I had grown up seeing like, all right, this is love, this is perfect, it's gonna be here. You just go get it, just go find it. When really it's nah, develop yourself, you know, mature emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And then when I hit that place where I was, where I needed to be, then I allowed it to come in. But
Mhm.
there's a big gap in my life where I was just like, now I'm not gonna say a savage, but just like, nah, this ain't my time. It ain't I felt certain things, but I just didn't let myself indulge to a deeper level because I still knew I wasn't quite ready to go in, that deep again.
Yo, man, you
That's
hit the
awesome.
you hit the
He
nail
did.
on
He
the
did.
coffin, because that's literally like my same sentiments. Like I felt like it was a point of my time, even like when me and Nubia were like trying to talk and everything. I was like, I don't think I'm really ready for a relationship. Like I think I gotta focus on myself as well. And then also one problem with me, I grew up in a Jamaican and Christian household, very judgmental people. So I had to get that judging people. Cause for me, as soon as somebody would do something, I'm like, nah, bro, I'm good off you.
Turn
Yeah,
off or
And
something that's like,
it would be something little, and like just like I had like things where somebody was like trying to push me in that way. I was like, I'm feeling you, cool, but like I'm just not
yeah,
hearing it. So like after like I said what happened early, and I was like when I finally realized like, oh damn, I really did care about this person. Like I
mhm,
ruined that opportunity. I was like very diligent with like
mhm,
just because after that happened, I realized that like I'm like damn, bro, like.
Yeah.
that's gone. That's like never gonna happen again. So
Right.
if I meet somebody, I want to make sure like when I finally like meet
Absolutely.
the right person, like I want to make sure that I'm whole and I am
Hmm.
myself and I'm ready to go. And also I want to make sure that like if I meet this person, something I always told newbie, I was like, yo, like once I was ready to be in a relationship with somebody, I was like, yo, if I meet this person, bro, we are getting married. Like
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm
this
not trying to find somebody to just date. I'm not just
I ain't
dating
gonna
to
be,
date.
uh-huh.
And that, to me, that was always like weird when people just like had all these different people they were dating. I was like, bro, like
Yeah, like that's
it ain't that serious. Like y'all could just vibe for like a little bit, like a
right,
minute. And
right.
so this for me, like my after my first experience with love, it showed me like, yo, it taught me it taught me patience. Be
Hmm.
patient with that person, and also be patient with yourself. And also seeing
absolutely.
like one thing love that my mom had when she finally found love is she had patience with it. So
Hmm.
my first experience with love and what impacted my thoughts on love was always seeing people when you rush it, it never works. When you patient and let it happen,
Say it
that's when it
again.
works. So
That's
uh,
so
I
true.
just it taught me patience, and patience is what gets you really far in life. I
Right.
learned.
Y'all definitely made valid points because as y'all were talking, I was thinking about, how y'all were saying y'all were finding yourselves and just being patient. And part of me was like when I was in college, I didn't grasp that concept until I graduated. And it wasn't until maybe 2017, 2018, I was like, I'm going to just make these next couple of years about me. I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to take care of myself. I'm going to learn about myself. I'm going to enjoy feeling lonely. I'm going to enjoy me time. And like, I had these plans to like move and just travel and really just be about myself. And I wasn't worried about a relationship. I wasn't worried about,
Hmm.
exes and then boom, smack the stuff out of me. And I'm like,
Always does.
come from? Because I was on my way at it, and it was like it was when I least expected. I did not expect, my husband to be my husband. I'm just like, I didn't, you go on more petty dates here just to, or to text somebody just because you bored or whatever. But it was wild. So when you said patience, I was sitting there like, that is so true because I was so focused on, finishing my master's degree and what my future plans were. And then this just came out of nowhere. And I was like, I guess I'm ready then. But I didn't go looking for it.
Right.
And what I noticed about another relationship I was in after high school, I was looking to fill the void of the first one. And I
Hmm.
wasn't trying to fill my own void. I was looking for somebody else to do. And I think Jay, you said something like, I'm looking for love here. Hopefully this person can help me fix this. And I have to
Right.
fix it in myself. So
Right.
I was just thinking like, it's wow how just being patient and focusing on you, it happens when you least expect it.
And then kind of to piggyback that, I don't know about you guys, but have you noticed that when you start in those times where you have sat down and been like, I'm going to focus on myself, things start to really go good for you. Like in those,
Amazing.
and then you be so like, then somebody does come up and you're like, dang, this could be,
Ah,
it's going so great for me right now by myself. Like
don't come in.
I can let it in. Can I swing you in give me about 3, 4 months? Let me
Hmm.
wrap up what I need to wrap up. Like I think that was like kind of hard for me to get my mind to a place. Is like thank God for sports because that was like I don't know how I would have been outside that because that gave me something to lock my mind on and not let nothing else in. But when
Hmm.
I was focused and locked in, things were going excellent. And that's why I was like, I didn't want to let nobody. I was like, oh no, I can't have nobody else. How they say, I don't want nobody to disturb my peace. And I don't
Hmm.
need nobody to mess it up. And I think we all probably had our moment where we was like, well, I've had this time, I've developed myself, I'm in a place where I can accept somebody else and let it in, and then boom, and now look at us.
Mhm.
Now look at you, like you said, Jay. Now, boom, you met your husband. You're in the midst
Right.
of doing all these excellent things, getting
Plans.
masters, and then boom, somebody comes at the perfect time when they're
Mhm.
supposed to be there, where they didn't destroy you, focusing on yourself, and
Not at
probably
all.
you to do even more, and just to
Mhm.
continue on that same path. And
Mhm.
I think that's just a moment of like I can accept somebody and continue to mature with someone where it doesn't have to be about just me anymore. I think when we
Absolutely.
learn that, that's when things even escalate
Mhm.
even more for us.
And the
Yeah, I
key too,
mean,
Jay, it was healthy. Like it came
Yep.
along and it was healthy. It didn't come along and it was toxic. It didn't come along like, oh, so and so had all these girlfriends. It was weird. And I'm not lying when I tell y'all this. When I met him, he was working on himself too. He was at a place where he was like, it was weird. Like it was hella weird. Where I'm like, you just saying not to just try to,
Yeah, it's too perfect right now.
No, right. You just trying to know, and he legit was serious. It was wild.
You about to say Wayne?
I got like that's great that y'all did that. That honestly didn't happen to me until like
Hey, but that's how we get you into a different perspective.
So me and Nubia broke up and we was broken up for a while.
Our
And
relationship
then that happened for me. But when me and Nubia initially started dating, I ain't gonna lie, bro. I was ready to go be a slut. And I was ready to go be a slut.
I wish I could see her face right now.
I was like, it's junior year. We winning some football games.
Y'all
I'm
were
gonna go
finally.
be lit. Right? I'm about to go get lit, like go wild out real quick. And then I'm at Nubia and she like calms me down.
She sure does.
Calmed me down, brought me back to service, like Dwayne, just relax. You just need to relax. And then I was like, damn, I really like this girl. And then went from there. But then we had broke up and I was like, man, I'm about to go back to Florida. This, that, and third, it's done, like it's over. And then we reconvened. And then from there it's just been and when I remember she called me. It was like late at night. And she's like, "So you about to move to Florida?" I'm like, "God,
no, you ain't.
You gotta call me now."
You picked up.
Call me now, and I was actually in Florida at the time. And she was like, "Well, I'm on a flight, so I'm gonna be there tomorrow, Friday."
I remember that.
Yeah. So then from there, like this week, like I feel like everything was about to go right. Like I'm like, found like, damn, I'm over her, kinda, not really. And then we reconvened, and then everything just been peachy from there, honestly.
Yeah, beyond peachy, boy, you married.
Right. And you got a baby on the way.
Yeah, big dog.
Well, Rona baby. But yeah. So yeah, man, she calmed me down initially because my junior year was I don't know what
you was wild. You were wild.
If I ain't there. So
that was a good year.
Love you back.
My junior year was all
right. Right. But anybody got anything else to say? Like piggyback off of anything?
Let's move on.
All right, let's move on. Babe, you want to go what's next on the docket?
Yes. So kind of going on a couple you mentioned. What would you say, Jay?
You say you want to do what's next on the docket. I said, wait there for it. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You all kind of touched on this a little bit, but I just wanted to reiterate and kind of go more deep into this question. But what did you want from a significant other, or what do you want? So we're all married right now, so I think we could definitely shortly say we know what we want. But what parts of your significant other were you looking for? Like what made them the one? How did you know it was them?
All right, that's a good question.
I can actually start this off.
Yeah, go ahead.
When me and Nubia first met, literally is wild. Our moms born in the same year. We're both the oldest of all our siblings. Our siblings, besides one, and including us, are all same year. So me and Nubia were born in the same year. My sister Malik, he doesn't have nobody, but then my sister Shala, her and her mom was born in the same year. And then my two little brothers and sisters born the same years as her brothers and sisters.
Wow.
So I'm like, God damn. So she understood. For me, the biggest thing was to understand my experience. And she perfectly understood my experience. Because like when we're talking about what we do for our siblings, it was like, yo, like we perfectly understood each other's experience. And also I needed someone and just be patient, honestly, because I'm a patient person, but I know I could get on people's nerves and I could do shit when not knowing what I'm doing. And, you know, so I needed someone to be patient with me and be patient with the relationship as well. So, and I also need someone that didn't, to me, I couldn't be with someone that always like needed me around or always like didn't have like their own life. Like I didn't want someone that made the relationship their life because then I feel like that can get annoying and make it boring. I wanted someone that, you know, we both have our things going on and then we come together. And when we come together, it's something magical, something amazing. So just the way she was moving and how she moved, I loved how independent she was. Like she didn't need me, but she wanted me. So that was like something that I loved. So that's something I wanted from my partner because that's something I feel like I displayed as well. Like I don't need you. I want you, and I have my own life. But at the end of the day, at the end of the night, I want to make sure a few, we're together. So that's what I was looking for, and I found it.
I love that.
So you can go ahead and go.
Oh damn! I thought I was going last. I was like, "Oh, we were reverse in order." So I know for me, what I need is someone who can listen. Because oftentimes I have moments where like I'm just having a rough day or there's a lot going on and I need somebody just to listen. Sometimes I don't even say anything, just to really understand what's going on in my mind or whatever I'm feeling. And two, and I'm not even trying to sound cocky, so don't even take this way. I want to say this, but I needed someone who could handle my success. And what I mean by that is um, having 50, 11 jobs, getting a PhD, being one of the only few Black therapists in Pittsburgh. So being very successful, I needed someone who could handle that. I didn't necessarily say I needed somebody on the same level education wise. So when I met Darius, I said, how would you feel that maybe within the next 5, 10 years I'm making more money than you? He said, shoot, I'm gonna be retired and be a stay-at-home dad. So just his responses, because right now he's the moneymaker, he's the breadwinner. And I said, well, how do you feel that, I know you're working on going back to school and, you don't have a college degree and I have a PhD. He said, guess what? When you walk across the stage, I'm gonna be a doctor too. I said, but he handled my success very well. He's very supportive. He's not envious. He's not jealous. Because you will get some men that, your wife may end up being the breadwinner and they can't handle that. And I, before we even got married, I asked him, I said, so what would it be like for you? And it's just, his response and the support was just remarkable. And the fact that he's able to sit back and just let me shine and it be about me right now, because he knows I would do the same. So I just needed somebody to listen and just to be supportive. And I didn't get that in a lot of my previous relationships, but with this one I did.
Yeah, I think both of you guys kind of brought up the same point, but in different ways, and which is kind of about to be the same as kind of what I'm about to say is I needed somebody who was going to understand, I think from my perspective, I have been in so many different, I guess you say, relationships or situations where nobody really got it. Like, I'm focused on one thing. I'm going so hard at one thing, and in those moments, people I was dealing with before, well, why aren't you focused on me? Type of thing. So for me, I needed somebody who was going to understand and somebody who was pretty much going to, how are we going to grow together? Like, how are we going to continue to build together? How are we going to push each other to get to those next steps in our own lives? So I think for me was I wanted someone who I was going to be able to, I'm trying to climb the mountaintop with you. I'm not trying to pull nobody up the mountaintop. I'm not trying to have nobody pull me up the mountaintop. I'm trying to get on it. We walking up there holding hands up the mountaintop, and we climbing together. And that's kind of what I was always looking for, was somebody who I can grow with. And, in those moments where I lack, yeah, I can go to you to help me get up, and vice versa. And I think everybody wants that, that equal relationship or partnership or whatever it may be. And you don't always get that, but you can always find somebody who's gonna continue to push you and help you get to that next level in your life. And I think that was probably the biggest thing for me, is having somebody who understood me and was willing to continue to push and grow with me. Because like in my mind, I'm never done thriving. I'm always trying to keep evolving and developing myself. I needed somebody else with that same mindset. And then when I found that, things have been great. Because even now we're still trying to continue to succeed. Nobody really don't peak. You're not trying to peak at any point. And maybe you do, but when you peak, you're probably kicking the bucket. And then then you're passing the baton. And I think that for me was, how can I, find somebody who to continue to push me and help me grow.
Piggybacking off of that, Jay, when did you? Because I don't know, Jada can't really answer this question because she didn't propose. She got proposed too. So like, when did you know, like, at this moment, like, all right, this was a definite, like, this is who we got. Like, all right, we're gonna get married. Like, this person I'm gonna marry.
Honestly, probably even before we was dating, to be honest, because we both talked about it. Is we went through this whole thing where I was so private and I'm not letting nobody in. I'm not involved in that. When something did come, I knew it was right. Like, because you hit a point in your life where I'm not dating to date no more.
Mm-hmm.
I'm dating to get married. So like, once I already once we had already started, and once I had let this person in, and I had already made up my mind, oh no, that we ain't giving up. This ain't no, I knew like
That's it.
so the second we were together, like once we started, even just in the talking phase, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm marrying her. It's just a matter of when.
Mhm.
Like, I knew I was marrying her. It was just when the
Love that.
timing was gonna be right. But
Mhm.
from the jump, I already knew. I'm like, I'm not wasting no more time. There's no more time to waste. If
Absolutely.
I took the time to let somebody in, I let them in for a reason, and they came for a reason. So that's how I looked at it. So it was I never had there was no doubt. Once I was like, and not that I said to myself, oh, my next relationship is gonna be my last. It's just that I knew what I was focused on, and then when something came in, and I allowed it to come in, and it felt right. That was it. That was all she wrote.
And I could definitely agree with that. I remember when me and Nubia first started talking, she's like, "Why you don't want to date me yet?" I was like, "Maybe it's been like a month." Like, you know what I'm
Right.
saying? She's like, "You will date me after a week." But then, like, I remember, like, we
You're
were,
right.
like, I remember it's crazy as hell, and I tell her, and she knows the story as well. One night, bro, I think she was like home. She went home because, like, senior year, I used to basically sleep in her room. Like, that's what we was doing, chilling with. And this
Really.
was before we started dating, right? And I'm in my room like one of these nights, right? And I have the wildest dream. And this dream is like, the dream is basically me saying my biggest regret would be not being with this woman, with Nubia. So I had this dream. And I'm like, oh shit. So then that dream made me take the relationship way more seriously. And then once we started talking, I was like, all right, we're gonna get married. And then we broke up a few times and we got back together. I was like, all right, now we living together. If we make through living together for two
Right.
years
Mhm.
and we don't break up or anything, I'm like, that's why I'm gonna pull the trigger. But in my mind, I'm like, all right, I'm gonna end up marrying Nubia
Yep.
regardless. And
Mhm.
Yep.
just from like when she, especially after she met my family loved her. Like everybody in my family loved her, and I was just like, all right, this is definitely the person.
It's so funny because not a lot of people know this, but the backstory with me and my wife now is that we went to the same high school, and I knew who she was. She was a year behind me, and she knew who I was, and we already like we knew each other, and like her friend group, they knew like she had a crush on me, and my boys at that time they knew like oh I'm like oh yeah, all right she's cute, but I never talked to her, never said a word to her. Oh, it was just high and by, if that, in passing. And the reason why I never wanted to talk to her then is because I knew I was not ready for her.
Mhm.
I literally knew it because I'm like the state I'm in right now, and I seen like how all my other friends' relationships had gone. Like when you meet somebody that young, you're not in the right space to be. If you were serious about somebody, you really wanted to be with someone. They say if you wait and if it comes back, it's real. That's how I was looking at that whole thing. Like where like I seen her, I knew her, I knew I wanted her, but I knew it wasn't the time, and I wasn't going to mess it up before it got there. And I never. I mean, I tell her that now,
Mhm.
but she had no idea. She's like, "Oh, you used to like me back then." I'm like, "Yeah." Like I used to see like you was bad. Like I used to want you, but I didn't say nothing. I just kept it pushing. I ain't wanna mess nothing up. I'm like, when the time comes, it's gonna come up, and then I'm gonna lock it down, and that's what happened. And
Yeah.
I think that's true. It's like you wanna wait and let something. You gotta be. I think the reoccurring thing is we gotta all fix ourselves first before it's the right time to let somebody else in, and then when that time comes, then it's great.
I think that's the part that hurts for us females, though, because like you're telling a story about your wife. I've been told that before too. That it's just not the right time right now, and you're like, well, what did I do wrong? You start to question your own self and own like, well, okay, it's not the right time right now, but it's the right time with her, and it's not thinking like somebody sees you as wife material. That is awesome, but at the same time, in the moment, you're like, well, why don't you want me right now? Like, why don't you?
Right.
So I think that you made a really good point, and I'm kind of glad you said that because a lot of females are out here questioning like this person, is attracted to me. We'll talk, maybe but they don't want me. That doesn't make any sense. But not like you said, you really have to kind of work on yourself first, and then if it comes back, it comes back. If it doesn't, it doesn't. But I think you highlighted and made a really good point.
Yeah, like for me, if I would have started dating her, then it would have ended up how my end up being my first heartbeat. That's what
Mm,
would have happened because I would have projected the same problems I had internally on her then,
mhm,
and it would have
Mhm.
been dead. And I think,
yeah,
and I don't even know, why I was even thinking like that back then. Because not that I was dating Mary back then. It was just that something, I don't know what it was, but
Look,
something was just telling me,
Mm-hmm.
save this one,
Yep.
don't jack this one up. Just don't say
Mm-hmm.
nothing. Don't be,
Mm-hmm.
don't try to ruin it. Don't get involved with it at all. Just let that one be.
Mm-hmm.
If it's really what you want, let it be. I think I
We'll
just
come back.
go and it came back.
all right, that's tough.
Mm-hmm.
Noops, what was next for us?
So our last question to wrap up chapter 1, we had a little bit of homework. So I want you all to talk about your love languages and how you discovered them.
You want me to go first?
Y'all looking at me. I was
I
like,
can
y'all
go.
looking at me. Okay.
Jada, you could go first.
Jay just found his love languages last meeting, but
And you know what? Let me go first because you said that. Since you brought it up, because honestly, up until a few weeks ago, I ain't know what no love language was. I ain't never heard it. I'll be honest, I still don't know. I know what this little survey told me, and if I fix, I probably need to look into it some more. But to be honest, I don't know. I really don't know. I probably need to figure it out some more. So it'll probably help me out with just communication standpoint. But
I'll send you some resources.
please,
I will. I'll send you some resources.
Hey Jay, I ain't gonna lie. Like basically, Nubia told me what my love languages were.
see, you ain't know. Somebody
I'll
told
send you some resources.
But she said it. I was like, that do sound about right. You know what I'm saying? Because she's like, yours are like acts of service. She's like, do things. And I'm like, yeah, I always do shit because that's just growing up. I always did stuff for people. So if I do something for you, that means I care for you. If I don't do shit for you and I complain, I'm like, nigga, leave me alone. I'm doing nothing for you. You feel me? But yeah, I feel the same way. I feel like honestly, and this might be messed up to say, I feel like love languages are more for the woman.
Yeah.
And I get killed for that. And I think it's more to help us understand the women in our life, honestly.
Right.
You know
And it helps us understand y'all, but was that it, Wayne?
No, yeah, that was pretty much it. Yeah.
All right, so I know we don't have much time left, so I'm gonna make this short. So when it came to me figuring out what my love language was, I was in an entanglement. All right, we ain't gonna give details, but I was in an entanglement.
It's always something about them Jadas.
So cut that part out, but not the entanglement, but middle care. I was in an entanglement, and actually, this individual, it was more of a serious, like, emotional connection, and this individual actually taught me about love languages and showed me. I knew this wasn't my forever person, but it was temporary. And this individual was educating me about love language, and I started researching it and studying. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. That we all like to be loved differently. So I took the test, and then I realized it was gifts and words of affirmation. I'm like, damn, that's really how like I see love, you know. And so like in my future relationships, I always would ask, you know, like guys, like, what is your love language? What somebody I was talking to, like, take the test, just let me know what you think. Even if I didn't see myself with that person forever, I was just always curious of how people love each other. So that was really my first instincts with it. It happened to be an entanglement, but another story for another day.
Do you think that love languages are super important?
I do. I do,
I
because
agree with that too.
The reason why is if my love language is gifts and words of affirmation, but Darius isn't, then he's not feeling loved by me. His is more it's physical, the one in acts of service, something like that. So if I'm not loving him in that way, and I'm loving him the way I want to be loved, that's going to cause a disconnect. So I think it's really important for me to understand how he needs to be loved in order to love him, because he loves me the way I want to be loved, if that makes sense. So I think it's really important. I don't think it's everything, but I think it's helpful.
I think it is helpful because like New Year's, one of hers is quality time. So she likes when we spend quality time together. So if you don't show that, for me, as long as Nubia is in the room, I'm straight.
That's all you care, right?
And she knows that, but she needs more than that. So if I'm just like, she's just in the room, I'm straight. And that's something that we had a conflict with. She was like, you
get off the damn video game.
Yeah, damn game. Or stop watching damn TV and not pay attention to me. Like, we gotta spend this quality time together. So I do think it is helpful because it does teach you how to love your partner in a different way.
I got a question for y'all since you guys have a little bit more experience with me. because you know what it is.
Mhm,
Do you think like Jay, you said you ask, like,
mhm,
do you think that messes things up? Like, all right,
mhm.
I ask you and you tell me, all right, well, I'm just gonna do what I know you need because because now I know, opposed to just
Naturally.
yeah, naturally figuring it out. Like, cause then to me, I'm not gonna say it happens like this, but I feel like
Mhm,
if I wanted to be with somebody and and one of the first things they ask me, or one first thing I find out is their love language,
mhm.
then I'm gonna do what that is.
It's not
Whether,
genuine.
and I may not even really want to do it, but I just know that's what you need from me. But is that true to
Mhm.
me? Or am I just doing something for you? And I don't know. Maybe it's meant to just be something that you naturally evolve to do, or you're just supposed to find that
Mhm.
person who does it already, who just loves you the
Mhm.
same way you want to be loved, opposed to telling somebody this is my love language and then them just doing it.
I feel like
Yeah,
it's
that's a good
helpful.
point. Go
I
ahead,
feel like
Will.
it's helpful for them. I feel like you shouldn't tell them both right away. I feel like they should be able to figure one out by
Mhm.
spending time with you, and
Absolutely.
then the other one maybe you do hint towards like, hey, this is what I like, or hey, this is what I need. If you see they're not giving it to you, well, but I don't think you should just come
Right.
out right the bat and be like, oh, I need
Right.
this.
Oh yeah, I'm
But
not
like,
saying first date,
yeah,
but right.
yeah. Not Jada sending him people pop quizzes on the first
No,
date.
no,
Like,
hell
Got,
no.
got the link already saved.
already. Hey,
Jay,
this how I need to be loved. If you ain't loving me this way, don't become.
no. At all. But for me, it was helpful for me because from a personal experience, I tend to self-sabotage. If something's going really well, I can sabotage it. And then once I sabotage it, I want to fix it. So if I want to fix it, I want to fix it in terms of ways that I want to be loved. So, say just an example, if I broke it off with somebody because I got just mad over something stupid. Okay, if I buy him these Jordans, he'll want me back. Versus if I pick up the phone and apologize, or if I go spend some time with this individual, versus trying to win him over with something monetary because I know that would mean a lot to me. Or so it's just a guide. I don't use it for every single thing, but in my life, I was like, I don't want to keep messing up these relationships because I play my part too in things. So I was like, I need something that's going to help me become a better human, a better person in a relationship. So it's really just a guide for me. And of course, things just happen naturally, but sometimes I need just a little bit something to help me make it better, if that makes sense.
I got you.
Got you. Got you. Okay. All right. I think that was pretty much everything we had, right, noobs? All right.
Uh,
So how would you guys like to end this off?
We made it through episode 1. We made it through episode 1.
the other way. So that's what we not gonna do.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know what Jada was doing over there.
Yeah.
That's the all the energy I
I
got
do
left.
want to lay them off with a cliffhanger about something that we may talk about next episode. Um, we're gonna talk about. I think we kind of really talk
Hey,
about meeting
do
our
you have a
person.
question?
Do I have a question?
Yeah. Do you
Yeah,
like have a question that we could end it off with?
yeah. I have a question that we can end it off with, and y'all don't answer it. We're gonna answer it for the next
It
episode.
gotta be a good one though.
It gotta be a good one. All right.
Why do you have a thought? I do have a question.
Do you have a question,
I
Jay?
don't know who I'm pointing at Jay, but I can't get it. Wait, right.
There
Is
you
this
go.
Oh no, I don't have one because I'm gonna have to think about because I know we're doing like a progressional storyline.
Yeah.
I have a question, but I don't think it's gonna fall within our storyline. But it's gonna be.
All right.
Hmm.
Because we already talked about. We basically talked about where we met our person at. So, what was? All right.
I think I have one,
We kind
but
of
I don't know if it's
you got one. Let me see. Let's see what you.
and you can always edit this photo. How did you make it through the breakup?
Oh,
So
all right.
everybody has broken up with their.
I think that was just a common theme I was picking up. I could be wrong, y'all. My bad.
Oh, okay, no, I was just making sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, how'd y'all make it through the breakup?
Yeah. Hey, that's a good one.
Yeah. Okay.
How did you make it through the breakup?
How we make it through
So
the
y'all will
breakup?
find out. How did we make it through the breakup?
How did we make it through from
And
breakup?
how did we get here?
How
So
did we?
it's every relationships are work, man. So you got them different stages. So
Mm-hmm.
not ABC 1, 2, 3. It's A, D.
So yeah, I think that's a good one. To leave
Yeah,
off.
how did you make it through the breakup? So we will see y'all in episode 2 with that
'Cause I got a
answer.
crazy story for y'all, because y'all know I'm wild.
Tune in. As you can tell, Jada is wild. Um, if
Yeah,
y'all
we
want the
can find.
people to know where they can find y'all at, if you don't want them to let you know where they can find you at, I'm gonna go. Y'all can find me on every social media at the very best. DA_very best. By the time this episode comes out, we will have an Instagram and Twitter page. So you guys, it will all be in the info, and you guys should just be able to find us there. We haven't come up with a name yet, but episode 2 we will have that. So um, where to love at? Episode 1 is in the bag. It is done. It is over with. Jada and Jalen, anything y'all want to say?
Yeah, y'all can find me on Instagram at Miss_J Will, JAYWILL, and Facebook is Jada Williams or
Yeah,
J Williams, JAY. I'm sorry, but we have two J's on here.
y'all catch us next time on With a Love App.
Hey, I like that. Hey, I like that. Hey, see y'all next time.
All right.